Uh, Speak.
Hello, hello.
Oh, there you
Oh, we did
are.
it. We're back. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing that whole intro shit again. But welcome to the show. We're back.
Scope
Uh,
stream, scope
th-
stream.
this week, me and Nana have decided to shake up the format just a little bit. We've got one regular topic, and then we're gonna do a bit of a react Andy to a video that she found. Once again, related to some FGC stuff.
It is true. It
Um,
is true.
So the only topic that we actually have for today that I came up with probably won't even take too long. I still can't believe that you like had no idea about this until I brought it up. But today we're talking about kin culture or kinography, one may say. I'm actually for the purposes of educating anybody else who may not know, because I am aware this is a pretty terminally online thing. Still, I'm pulling up the Urban Dictionary for it right now. Um, so essentially, it's like you want to think of it as it's derived from the word uh like kin, right? When someone is of your kin, they could be like family, directly blood related to you, or like somebody who you are close with, almost like family, right?
Right.
So when people say that about a fictional character, they'll be like, "Oh, I kin X character."
Right.
That's their way of saying that they relate to them, right? But it's beyond like just being like, "Oh, I relate to this character." It's like you see your own qualities in them, right? You
Right.
identify with them as an individual. Uh, I think it's funny that you've never heard of this,
Well, I
considering that you
have,
that
but
you like.
I have, but
Uh-huh.
I don't think a whole lot about it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say you like Danganronpa. You have to have heard of this
Yeah,
shit.
I have. I have. I just didn't think about it. I was like, oh wait, that's what you meant.
Right. So I guess our leading question is like, how far can you go with this character is literally me before you turn into like a weirdo?
Personally, I am of the belief that it's like if you relate to a character, that's fine. If you want to say that you are that character, that's also fine. I think it gets to a weird point though, where you get a lot of people who are very, very, very protective of that character, and that character becomes their identity. And
Right.
then what ends up happening is you get situations where you can't even so much as do anything regarding that character without that person being like, hey, like, no, you can't. They would never do this because I would. Or, there's a realm of delusion here.
Yeah. Like I've literally seen people on Twitter and stuff being like, "Oh, you can't draw like X type of fan art, or you can't write X type of fan fiction featuring this character because, like you said, they would never do that. I know this character, bro. They are me. I am them. They
Right.
would never be okay with these things. You can't create this fan work because it's against my sensibilities as this character's biggest fan."
And I think ultimately it's not like the biggest deal of all time because I'm just like, you can just kind of ignore it. But also it's one of those things where I'm just like, you're a little weird. Like, for example, um, there's someone in one of my friend groups, not naming names, but they really, really like Ellen Joe from Zenless,
I
right?
was gonna say she's the newest Zenless drop, right?
Oh, he's old.
Oh, no, no, no. She's the pink haired one,
No, that's the shark,
right?
the shark in high school, the high school shark.
Oh, dude, I have not logged on that shit in so long. Like you said the name, and clearly the memory is not there. But now that you've described her, I remember exactly who it is. I just never thought she was interesting. But carry on.
Well, I mean, it got to a point where like my friend and that other friend, they're playing VR chat.
Yeah.
Friend X is like using an Ellen Joe avatar, and friend Y is like, no, you can't do that. That's my thing. And like they're like dead serious about it.
Oh,
That
I
it's
think you
like
told me about
you
this person privately too.
I probably did, yeah. They're like, no, you can't do this. This is my thing. Like, I am the only one who can use this avatar. And I'm like, what? You're playing VR chat, dude. How many people, like, do you just start, like, shaking in your boots the moment you see anyone else using that avatar that you don't personally know? Like,
Yeah, kind of scary. Like, at what point do you just like cease to have a personality because you've gotten so deep into this rabbit hole of identifying with this with some dude's fictional creation that you're like you're not even like your own person anymore. It's kind of scary when you think about it.
it very much is. And I think the reason why is specifically because it's how do I want to say this? It's I just don't think people have um the mentality to they don't have like social skills anymore, if that makes any sense. Like I think ever since COVID, like lockdown is when that kind of amplified itself where everyone was like,
Uh-huh.
you know, I'm going to make this thing my entire personality because there's nothing else going on right now. And a lot of kids from that time frame were just like not going to school. They couldn't see friends. They were pretty much just on their phones, tablets, all that shit for forever, basically.
Hmm. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing I've realized since we started doing this actually, because I've always been asking myself like, why does the internet feel so different now? Why does everything feel so fucking wrong compared to how it used to? And it really was COVID. Like you made me realize that you hit the nail on the head. Like, because it just forced people to be so much more online than they've ever been,
Yeah,
and it actually like completely like changed the way that internet behavior is handled.
yeah. It's one of those things where I think COVID was the root of a lot of problems, but I think socially is when it got really bad. But then I think after COVID, there was a demand for people wanting to go outside again. But now we have a bunch of kids who grew up, you know, indoors for the last 2 years, pretty much brain rotting themselves, and they've been fed so much terminally online information and behavior that they just kind of don't know how to act in person. And it's not even just
Yeah.
kids though. It's also
Like
it's
I'll be the one to say it if you want. It's not just kids, it's also emotionally stunted adults.
yeah. There's a lot of people who just don't know how to kind of handle their emotions anymore. Like you can't just enjoy something anymore. Like you have to have make that thing your entire personality. Kind of like we were talking about before, where people are like, if your media consumption or the media we consume, and I'm like, no, no, we don't. Yes, we are the consumer, but I'm not gonna tell you there's like a right or wrong way to enjoy your media. But I'm just like, dude, there's more to life than your fictional characters. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, right. Because the whole Kino thing is like, I kind of view it as like the most extreme, like, it's the end point of like pushing your headcanon too far. Because what's an example I can think of off the top of my head? Because like Persona has a big Kino fan base, right?
It
So
does.
like let's say like Naoto from Persona 4, right? Like a lot of like younger like trans teenagers like really identify with her character arc, and even though it is kind of based on a bit of a misunderstanding, that's not really my point here. um that misunderstanding has like created this new fan base for the character that is now uh developing their own headcanon for her, that she is transgender, or at least should be transgender, which like that's a much more interesting argument, like to say that she
Right.
should be versus like saying she actually is when she objectively isn't.
Right.
But it's just interesting because now having that headcanon is totally fine. Like I understand where it comes from, and like you're totally allowed to think that. But it has gotten to a point where people identify with that character so much that like they can't fathom the idea of like somebody going against that interpretation. So they end
Right.
up like I guess pushing the agenda, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, eventually you reach a certain point where you're just so detached from reality that I don't know what else I can say to you other than like you need to like actually go out and touch grass. It's 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 kind of scary, kind of like you were saying before, where a lot of God, there
you're, yeah.
I'm
You're like,
so I because I have so much to say on the topic, but I don't know how to go about it.
I know I can feel you like going into overload, like on all
It's
the
I just don't
online brain rot.
understand it really. Like I'm not a psychologist. Psychology is one of my favorite subjects, and I just can't understand it. Uh,
Mm, yeah.
because I I get it to a degree because there are certain things where I'm like, in the milk chat when like everyone started liking Poppy, and I'm like, dude, where's my credit for this? Where's my credit for putting you all on here? Like it wasn't cool until I started doing it, but now
For
everyone's
real, a
doing it. You know what I
trendsetter.
mean? But
Yeah.
there's
Also for context for the YouTube people, Milk is our personal chat with all of our close like friends and stuff.
and it's just I just don't know how you can get to a point where you're so cooked where you're like, okay, I get wanting to be known for this one thing, but also I'm like to be known for like the one thing. But then there comes a point where it's like, okay, so now you're not gonna let anyone enjoy this thing or enjoy this character or enjoy whatever the fuck it is
Yeah.
because you have no personality. You have no personality other than, this is my thing.
Yeah, forgive me for getting on my anti-capitalist pedestal here on the glorious twitch.com, but I think it also genuinely comes a bit from the mentality of nowadays, like, your hobbies and interests are almost kind of synonymous with your personality for a lot of people. Like, we all love to joke about that, like, oh, liking this one thing is my whole personality, blah blah blah. Like, found a new interest. This is my personality for the next month. Like, shit like that is funny, but I think there's definitely some truth to the meme.
No, there
At least
definitely
for
is.
some certain types of people, like it really is like that. Like,
I wouldn't even say it's a meme. I genuinely wouldn't even say it's a meme at this point. It's just kind of true.
yeah, you think it's like more true for the average person online than not?
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, that's a bitter
at
pill to
least for the
swallow.
at least for the terminally online side of things. I
Yeah,
mean, in real life, like you don't see people actually doing that kind of stuff, but
right.
you go online, you see people like really, really fixating on like this one character, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh well, this is the new thing because it's super trendy, or my friend group is getting into this thing, so now I'm part of this thing. I think people just want to feel like a part of something, if that makes any sense. Like they want to feel special about the thing that they
Yeah,
like they want to be unique, to be their thing, and that's fine. But you could have more to you than being a one trick. I don't think being a one trick makes you unique at all.
yeah, right. Like I'm a big Type Moon fan, for example, and I am one of many people who will go online and tell you that I am Tonoshiki from Tsukuhime's biggest fan ever. But let me tell you something. That's a lie. When I say it, there are some bigger fans of that character than me, and there's a lot of characters like this, especially in niche fan bases, particularly, where
Really?
like the super diehards, they will debate anybody on their favorite character and make sure that they let you know how much of a moron you are to them. And it's just like,
Huh.
I can't even imagine being that invested. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, I've just never been the type of person that ever understood like being so invested in one thing where I can only talk about this one thing. This is my entire personality, and I'm just like, dude, please do
Yeah,
something else.
right?
Please talk about something else.
Because it's not even like one piece of entertainment or like one series. It's like one specific character from one piece of entertainment.
And like I
Like
said,
that's super specific.
like I said, it's totally fine if you know, enjoy that one thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to necessarily like stop enjoying it. Like you can enjoy it, let that be your thing. But also, I'm just like, guys, other people can enjoy stuff too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters who are like, oh, this is me, but like they're literally not me at all. I'm just like, I just wanna be known for this character.
Yeah, see, like that's proof that the bit is still alive, right? Like it's definitely not like fully a non-meme, but I guess you are partially right that I think in the chronically online hemisphere, like more often than not, like people are probably being for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you telling
It's
me you don't have a single Kino of your own? Not one?
not a character that I would say is actually me.
Yeah, that you like relate to on that level.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. That I couldn't imagine living such an existence. If you can't go online and scream into the void that that I am this character. This character is me. Because dude, it's so funny to like do it on purpose to annoy people.
It is.
I love it, dude. I can't help it. It's so fucking funny.
But also, I don't know. I just like characters, and if I like the character enough, I'll be like, okay, this is a part of my identity. Not necessarily that I identify as the character, but more so like this is my aesthetic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like the identity is more based in your enjoyment of that thing,
Right.
like not the thing itself.
Like right now I'm in my pink girl arc.
W.
I'm so sick of seeing Chungus. If I see Chungus one more time, I'm gonna blow up.
Hey man, that Chungus poster is a valued viewer.
He
All
is a
right, don't
valued
scare
viewer,
him
but
off.
no, I'm in my pink girl arc, so like right now my profile picture is Sweetheart from Amore. And then before that, I was contemplating. I was like, do I want to use a Princess Peach avatar? And then I was also like, oh yeah, and I can also go back to Nicole. And then I was like, oh, and then I can also go for Pochi. And then I was like, okay, I need to stop.
Yeah, wow, it's actually pink on pink on pink. You also can't stop the fucking Hoshino posting either.
I can't
So that's
either.
another one.
Yeah, I mean,
How
my Twitter
how long till you start
retweets.
posting about me, dude? I have pink hair.
When,
Can
when's
I
the
be included?
when's the land NBA kidding?
Yeah, dude. If anybody's gonna call me Kino, they might need psychiatric evaluation.
Oh yeah. I was gonna I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I'm like if someone kids me, I think they have their priorities wrong.
Yeah,
Something's
trust
wrong.
me. I always say I'm on borrowed time. The chats will leak one day. It'll happen. I'm on borrowed time. I'm here for a good time, not a long
We're
time.
here for a good time, not a long time. I mean, hey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of all there is to say, right? Just like our usual shtick of don't be so ridiculously online that you just like slip into complete insanity. It always circles back to this, but I feel like it's an important message to put out there because the thing that we don't talk about, or at least haven't yet, I feel, is how easy it actually is to let it happen to you. Like if you're not careful,
Right.
because especially like for those COVID teenagers that we were talking about who like were kind of growing up in that era, like without like having even having a chance to get that level of like IRL exposure,
Uh-huh.
like so it was sort of forced onto them to a degree, that mentality, because it was literally all they knew growing up. So
Right.
I would imagine it's probably hard to separate yourself from that if I was to actually try and be empathetic
Oh
towards them
yeah,
for
for
once.
sure. I mean, if that's all somebody knows, I mean, it's very difficult to actually, get them to. You don't necessarily want to change them, but you also just, you gotta be like, hey, there's something we gotta tell you.
I mean, yeah,
How do
bro,
we have this
time's running
conversation?
out. Y'all are getting older. If you're seeing this, the well of sympathy hath runneth dry. I can't sit here and be nice forever, bro. It's time to start hating. Wake up.
I am a pretty big hater.
God, hating is so fun. Hating is so fun.
It
I just
is.
can't help it.
It
It
is
gives.
very
I
fun.
wake up
I'm a
every day.
T0 hater.
Exactly. I wake up every day with just like excitement about the fact that I get to do more hating. It fuels my every action. I can't help it. Fuck Vape Nation. Hate Nation.
What? Fuck Vape Nation,
That
Hate
has to have been a
Nation.
typo. I mean, I agree. Vape Nation can blow me. Team Cigarettes for life.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, what do you think? Is it time for React Andy? Because it will probably take
It
a while.
might be time for React Andy.
Okay, I'm pretty excited about this. Go ahead and introduce this one because this was what you brought to the table today.
Okay, so today, a video came across my timeline. It was made by TVFGC, and it is called "Analyzing the Current State of the Fighting Game Community in 2024. Is it all bad?" Question mark. And I have a lot to say about that. Just based on the headline alone, but you can't let the headline um get all of your attention.
Yeah, because we have to actually go watch the video now that we've been clickbaited. Clickbait isn't bad inherently, guys, but if you
No,
get
not at all.
clickbaited, you have to see it through.
It's true. Okay, now I'm gonna actually. So before you actually say anything, Lanny, I'm gonna make
Okay.
sure that I have your application audio actually functioning.
Okay.
Oh God. Okay, so now I need to add existing speak.
Hello, hello.
Oh my God. Hi.
I could do Balloon Boy. Hello.
No,
Hi.
just stop. Ew.
That's more like the ninja laugh from that one video. Fuck you say to me, you little shit.
All right, hold on. Let me get rid of this one.
Is it still topical to make fun of Ninja? Do people still like bullying him?
Yes.
Good. I know he's dragging the low taper fade meme. That's the big thing right now. Is everybody's bullying him for
You're
that
right,
because he won't
right.
stop going low taper fade.
Oh my God, FNAF. Okay, I'm actually gonna.
Ninja's just an oh yeah, Ninja for real hit Unk status actually when you think about it. He's been in the game for a while now.
It's true. All right. So, in three, we're gonna react. Holy moly, we're gonna react.
Oh, okay. So, okay, hold on. Actually, isn't the best way to do this, as assuming your PC can handle it, so our timing isn't fucked up with the video, you should probably screen share it to me personally on Discord, right? So that I don't have to look at the stream and have the delay.
True. That's a lot going on at once.
Yeah, I mean, if your PC can't handle it, we can
It
just time
probably
it.
can, but I don't want to risk it because that's a lot. Because that's a
All right.
lot of bandwidth.
Okay, then I'll pull it up myself. Give me one
Yeah, I
moment.
am literally at. Actually, no. You know what? I think it should be fine if I screen share it.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 sec. I'm gonna change the chat overlay.
I gotta say that this is low key the part of doing this that I've been waiting for, where we get to start like directly responding to videos and stuff, because this is what I live for.
Actually, let me lower the. Screen.
I want my reactions now. Where are my reactions? You just want to watch the video, bruh. Like everybody who watches reaction content.
That's insane.
You just want to watch the video and you want us to give it to you.
Give it to you.
But you know what? We'll fucking give it to you, all right, Beefius. Trust.
All right.
You better get the fucking the Nanodyne Lanny double team action.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. All right.
All right, play the video.
All right. Video playing. 3, 2, 1.
State of fighting games going into 2025 seems to be in one of the most peculiar states that you can remember. When you look at any of the main games right now, whether it's Street Fighter 6, whether it's Tekken 8, whether it's Guilty Gear Strive, whether it's
This game
Dragon
sucks, by
Ball
the way.
Fighters, it seems
Yeah,
like
ass game.
everybody has negative things to say
We're still
about it.
considering
It is
Fighters a
getting
main
to
game?
point to where it's like It's really hard almost
Kinda.
to go online and see anybody talking about anything
I
positive
I
as far
consider
as
it
like
like
what's
Discord
going on
fighter
in the
now, to be
FGC.
honest.
Now you do have some things that are going on right
Oh,
now. A few
excuse me. I
things that
guess
are
you can kind of
positive. For
consider it that.
example, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Beyond has come out, and that is doing fantastic. Just had a prize pool of over $7,000, all crowdfunded. Also, the
Oh
monthly
yeah,
collection
shout
came
out
out,
the
so it
that
seems
mod.
like
That mod is
MVC is
actually
at a
cool. It
stage
makes
Yeah, that
where
shit's
MVCI
it's
into a
doing
good
huge.
game.
fantastic, and everybody's excited, anticipating for the next one to come out. And also you have anticipated games in the future, which we'll talk about later. Fate of Fury City of the Wolves and the new Virtual Fighter 6. But when it comes to the games
Should
that
Shit
look
I
like
looks
like
like
Marvel
they're
now,
all.
Rivals.
it's polarizing to say the least.
That's
You
what
have
I'm
people
saying. It
going
should
back
look
to
like the Battle
older
Pass.
versions of a current game or just going back to an older game in general. It
Turn up
seems
a
like
little
it's a
bit.
pretty tough and crazy time in the FGC. And we're going to go through some of the games that are out right now and talk about the state of where they're at right now, possibly how it's going to look going forward into the future,
Okay.
and some games that we can look at going forward into the future. So let's go ahead and take a look at
Okay,
some
so
of these games.
that's the
So
MO.
first, we have
We're
Street
looking
Fighter
at games that
6.
are
Now,
currently
Street Fighter
relevant.
6, as far as like the big three of the fighting games, seems like is in the best position. When I say big three, we're talking about Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
It
Kombat,
seems
lol.
like it's at the best
Yeah.
position, but it still has some
Okay,
of
whatever
its
you say,
own
bro.
issues where you have some
I love
people who
hating on
say they
NRS.
really just don't like what the game is and how it is played in the
Huh?
meta of it. When you talk about the drive gauge, drive mechanics, and things of that nature, a lot of people feel like it's just totally unfair, it's unbalanced, it's broken. And people like Mental RD
Huh.
has actually come out and said he thinks Street Fighter 6 is just
Hmm.
a game that is very random, that you really
Oh, I
can't
do remember that.
determine
I
I
do
do. I
remember
do
to
remember
decide
seeing
when
who's
Mena said
possibly
that the
going to
game was mad
win.
random and
Anybody
less
could be
skillful than
almost
5.
anybody. It's really not like older Street Fighter games where he would say like the last season of Street Fighter
Oh,
5
okay.
or
Yeah,
Street.
this is where we got to pause
Yeah,
because
we'll pause on this point right
I
here.
fucking love. Yeah. Okay, I fucking love Street Fighter, so I've definitely got some shit to say about this because the Street Fighter community has been saying this for fucking ever.
Hi, Patrick.
Like that. Yeah, hi Pat. The SF is like they're basically the what's the word? The original community who started the whole old game good, new game bad thing that we see all the time now. Like they were doing it all the way back in like Third Strike.
No, yeah, they did that shit way back in Third Strike, and then they did
Yeah.
it to Street Fighter 4, and then they did it to Street Fighter 5, and now they're
Dude.
doing it to Street Fighter 6. It does
Dude.
not stop.
No, dude, saying like retroactively saying that SF5 was like a skill-based game now is like one of the most insane pieces of revisionist history I've ever seen.
And wait,
And I don't know what it is that makes them keep doing this.
it's throw loops. In this game in particular, it's throw loops. And the reason why I see so many people go, we should go back to when like throws just led you back to like a neutral state. And I'm like, dude, everything in Street Fighter 5 led you back to a neutral state. There's a fucking
Yeah.
bot in my chat.
WBot. I'm gonna mod this guy.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what the fuck is streamboo.com?
Yeah, what the hell is that? Hold on.
Better check this shit out. Hold up. Streamboo.com. Oh, buy Twitch followers.
I love buying Twitch followers, dude.
Thoughts? Dude, if we pool our money together, we could get you like a couple thou, probably.
Hell no.
You don't even need to do that anymore.
manage
Live
res-
virus fighting incoming.
Restrict.
Yeah, that'll be good content. Anti hacking live stream.
Anti-hacking live stream.
Yeah, but I do know that throw loops are the thing that people are pissed about because I was partaking in that discourse when it first came around, but I think I guess what I more specifically meant is like what is it about Street Fighter that, at least in my opinion, makes them the community that does this the most frequently?
I think BBC live virus fighting incoming.
Yeah, bro. It's because he knows I've done that shit before.
No, I think the reason why Street Fighter players do it is well, here's the thing. Street Fighter has a lot of old heads that play it, and then it gets a lot of new people with each game, right?
Right, because it's
So
the
you have
biggest
a lot
fighting
of-
game series that everyone knows.
Right. So you have a lot of like older people who are like, man, this game was this, this game was so much better. It had this. And it's like, looking back on it, rose-tinted goggles, Street Fighter 5, for example, everyone fucking hated that game. And it wasn't until like the end of that game's life cycle where it actually became like a solid game.
Yeah, it started becoming okay by the end.
But I think like outside of that, it's like, dude, the rest of that game was fucking dog shit. Like nobody liked it. Nobody fucking enjoyed Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, right. Like, bro, you remember shit like fucking how Luke terrorized the game before the final patch,
That
or like
too.
Abigail. Do you remember Abigail?
Don't even get me started on Luke. I hate how much that character resembled Jake Paul. It annoyed me so much.
Holy shit, you're right. I never even thought about that.
That shit annoyed me so much. And the fact that he, like you said, he terrorized the video game. He's twerking on everybody out here. I'm just like, all right,
Yeah, right.
this game's
I
cool.
mean, I don't know. I feel like because like Street Fighter is like basically the oldest fighting game series that is also like not as based on legacy skill as the community would like you to think. I feel like it leads to SF players, and I say this as an SF player, like it leads to them kind of having this like weird sort of ego about their series where it's like, no, Street Fighter will always forever be honest, but only the games that we're not playing anymore. Those ones are really, really honest. The current game, the most modern one, they're fucking it up. They're ruining it.
Yeah,
Even though it's like it's basically the same.
right. It's Street Fighter's one of those games that doesn't fundamentally Street Fighter does not change much. The only thing that really changes are the system mechanics. And, there's a debate for whether or not, if you like the drive mechanic or not. I think honestly the mechanic's fine. I think it's like right as of right now, it's way better than it was at launch, and I think the game
Yeah.
overall is just in a much more solid state than it ever has been.
Yeah,
Like
I'd
you
agree.
have characters that are like super good, but I don't think there's at least as of right now, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't really think there's a character that's like really terrorizing the game right now where like everyone has to play them.
No, not really. There's not like there's a handful of characters who are like more
Like
dominant,
I'm pretty
but
sure like Akuma's still really good. I'm pretty sure Bison's still really good, but I don't think they're
mhm.
like as like crazy dominant as like Luke was at around his launch, or what's his fucking name? I'm blanking out. It's another character that was recently added Street Fighter 6 DLC.
You thinking about Ed?
Yes, Ed. Yeah, he was also like pretty strong. Or like launch JP and Ken.
Yeah, right. I definitely agree. Like the series is like, there's an element of legacy to it for sure. Like I can boot up any game and do like, like low forward fireball and then frame trap you with like standing medium in like every game as Ryu. But that, you know, like when it comes to drive, that is the big new thing in 6. But I think the thing about it is that it's okay to have criticisms of it, but to be a parrot a little bit, I pretty much agree with how Sejam has talked about the mechanic on multiple occasions, where
Yeah,
for the good and bad that comes with it, y'all got to learn to accept the concept of necessary evils in fighting game design, because
that too.
if you change pretty much anything about the way that drive works, since the whole game is centered around it, like you're gonna break the game
Now
if
I'm
you
gonna
change
s-
anything.
now I'm gonna say like getting in the burnout state. That shit feels awful.
Yeah,
That shit is
right.
disgusting, and I'm like, okay. I think you gotta. I mean, it leaves you completely defenseless. There's nothing you can do, and it's just like, okay. I
hmm
get that's the only issue I have with Street Fighter 6 where I'm like, okay, I think you should still be able to do something if you don't have your drive. Like you can still, play the video game, but it's like you are
I mean, you
at a
can do stuff, but it's way harder to do stuff if you're a character that doesn't have a DP.
right. And I think,
Um,
then you get into like the conversation of like how characters are designed and balanced around drive gauge, which that's neither here nor there. Similar to like the system mechanics in Guilty Gear where, everyone the game is basically, who can can use meter the best and who can just keep infinite fucking pressure going, because by the
Yeah.
time they're out of meter, they get their meter back, so they're just plus all the time, or they mix
Mhm.
you because at Ramble Fault. Anyway, I'm gonna continue the video because yeah.
Right. Oh, the only other thing is
Street Fighter 4 to where
with
the
how
best
people
player would
hate
win
for
all the
loops,
time. No,
like,
that's not the case.
you
It's so
know,
many
if
50-50,
for loops
so
weren't
many
in the game,
guessing, so
Wake
many
Up Perfect
things
Parry would
like
be the best option
doing
ever.
an overhead,
also
blocking
true.
or overhead, and somebody still being plus. The game has so much stuff to it for the state that it is right now that people really don't like it. So much so that people have in recent times talked about going back to Street Fighter 5 and playing Street Fighter 5
No,
to
we're
where the
not.
FGC
No, we're
is
not.
putting a
Nobody's
list
doing
on
that.
Are we
social media,
reinstalling
putting up old
SF5?
Street
Show me how many
Fighter
likes
clips,
that has, bro.
wondering if
Show
they're
me the
gonna
ratio.
reinstall the
Right,
game.
like,
But also
no.
another issue with Street Fighter 6 is lack of content. It seems like they're mostly just focused on Battle Hub when it comes to
Smug, you're
costumes and
already on
things of that
SF4
nature
every day. Just
to
keep playing that.
customize the characters
Right.
that you're playing with.
That game is actually
And
good.
just a lack of people having characters that they really want to play with, which is understandable. I mean, it's a
Okay, I will say Street Fighter 6 did take me out because there was like no characters I wanted to play in that video game until like Mai released.
Yeah?
And I'm waiting for Elena, and hopefully she comes out and is, pretty fun.
God, I
But
hope she gets into a game again. I love her, bro. And I hope they give her the healing super again. I don't care.
you said you hope she gets into a game again. She's gonna be in this game.
Did they? I don't remember if they announced her or
Yeah,
not. I
they
haven't been
announced
looking at
her
the most
with.
recent stuff.
They announced her like the full season was Bison, Terry, Mai, and Elena.
Okay, because I only remembered the guess and then Akuma and Bison.
I was gonna say Elena is in the summer this year, I think.
That's awesome, dude.
But she's pretty soon.
Because I love her.
No, but yeah, people saying they're going back to Street Fighter 5 are actually trolling, because no, you're not.
early season.
No, yeah,
you just
game,
that-
so you're
that's
probably
definitely
not
cap. Like,
gonna
we don't even have to
like,
talk
the
about that.
character
You're
you
lying.
want in the game already. And really, with the state that Street Fighter 6 is in, it seems like Capcom is fine with it. When you talk
'Cause
about
it's
the
doing
patches and the things that have happened,
Yeah,
lately,
right.
when it comes to throw loops, they haven't really changed it much.
Throw
It
loops are
seems
fine.
like they even buffed the throw loops.
Just
And then
actually
on top
pretty
of that,
better.
when it comes
Don't
to
be a
the
pussy.
drive
Go for a
dash,
DP
drive
once in your
mechanics,
life. Do a
it
wake up
seems like
super.
they haven't
Be a
touched
man.
that much, which is basically saying that they're happy with the way that things are. Basically, what Street Fighter 6 is right now,
I think
you
his
can kind of
argument
expect
for
it to
Street
stay
Fighter
the
6
same with
though
just
kind
little
of boils
tweaks in
down
there, the
to
buffs and
you can pretty much make this argument for any game. Like, it's like, well, some people don't have a character they like, and I'm like, yeah, that's it's any game. There are also some
Yeah.
people that like where they're not happy with the state of the game. And I'm like, yeah, that's any game. I don't think the state of Street Fighter 6 has ever really been abysmal. Like, the game's always been pretty solid, like, all throughout. I don't think maybe there was like a little a brief time period when Bison came out, and he was kind of just working on people. But
Hmm.
I mean, I think people just kind of you play a game long enough and you just start finding stuff to bitch about.
Yeah, right. I will say to
there's some
not to
characters,
make sure we don't
and they're
discredit
just gonna go
the
on
guy
and
who
move
made
forward.
this.
So it's
I don't
kinda
think these
gonna
are
be a
necessarily
perfect game.
his
Do you
opinions. I
like the
think he's
game?
kind of
Do
like
you not like the
just
game?
representing the
Is it something
opinions
that
of
you
like
can
the
stick with
average
for the
Right.
like
future? If not,
Platinum
it might
3
just
in
not
ranked
be a
Joe
game
Schmo
that
on
you
Twitter.
drop. Or if you're a pro player and you're trying to do this for a living, it might just be one of them things like, hey, I might not like the game, but this is how I make my living.
Yeah.
I'm a Street Fighter player. We're just gonna move forward. So that's kind of like the state of Street Fighter 6 right now. It's not as bad as the other ones,
Street Fighter's
but
fine.
that
Yeah.
is what it is.
I
Then we
wouldn't
have
say it's
Tekken 8.
bad
Now
at
it
all.
seems like Tekken 8 kind of came out of the gate weird, with a lot of people like Arsenal and Ash, for example, coming out and talking about from the jump how he didn't like Tekken 8.
Tekken was
how it
definitely the
a
most
hard time for
polarizing
him getting in
release of
before
all
he
the.
went on ahead and
all,
eventually
like,
Yeah,
won
super
I'm the
major
wrong
games
person
that
to talk
year.
about this because
But
I
he
just
still talks about to
actively
this
hate
day
Tekken.
how Tekken 7 is a better game and how he wished things were back the way it was with Tekken. It's understandable because for so long Tekken was known as a game to where you have legacy skill. The things that you learned from the previous game could carry over. But we're
I
in
still think
times
that's
now
true,
where fighting
though.
games are basically kind of in a
Yeah,
revolution. They're
from what I've heard,
changing.
they've
They're
only
going
toned it
to
down
more
slightly.
and more
I don't know a lot.
offensive
Like, the
heavy,
game's
super
definitely
offensive
easier, but I
focused,
think
not
you
a lot of
still have to
defensive
have like that
options type
Tekken,
game.
like, you
So
have to have
what
that
we've known
that
fighting
Tekken
games to
skill
be,
in
they're
order to
kind of
actually.
Do you actually
changing,
know
especially
mechanically
for a
what's
game
different?
like
Because
Tekken.
I don't want to
Now,
sit here and act
aside
like I know
from the
shit.
issues that they
I don't
had with
think
the
okay, so I'm
gameplay,
not
they've
gonna
had some
pretend like I know a whole lot about Tekken, but I think the only thing that's the major thing that's different is the heat system, and it kind of
Yep.
just lets people. The game's definitely more mashy. I'll put it that way. Like, people can just kind of mash,
Hmm.
but I mean that only really works in specific scenarios or against certain players, like new players, or if you're just you're in a situation where you can just hit buttons. But I don't think overall the game is as as keyboard mash as people think it is.
Yeah, I'd
This
argue
year
that's
was
not
just
even a
out of the gate
symptom
with
of
the
Tekken
game as far as
specifically
like
either. I think
DLC. The
pretty much
first
all
season of
modern
Tekken 8,
fighting
a
games
lot
are
of
more
people think it
mashy.
was
It's just where the
lackluster
genre
because
itself has
basically
gone.
they got characters that they
Oh
felt.
yeah, the DLC situation. Okay, this I totally understand. This
Yeah,
shit I totally understand. I wouldn't say like the state that overall dictates the state of the game, but I do think the shit that they pulled with Heihachi was definitely not a good precedent for the monetization of the game.
yeah, that's definitely anti-consumer what they did with him.
And then they added Clive.
Like should have been in the base
Yeah, I do know
roster.
people hate
Lydia
Clive.
was a character that was
I just thought he was
already
very
in
good
the
apparently.
final season of Tekken 7 that was DLC.
Yeah, well, because he's
and
like a
then
Soul
you got
Calibur
her as
character in
DLC
Tekken.
again for the first season of
Yeah.
Tekken 8 was
Not even a
weird.
real
Eddie
Final Fantasy
Goro
character.
was
He's
first
a fucking Soul
season
Calibur
of
character.
Tekken 8, which people thought he should have been in the base roster, which was weird. Heihachi, even though he came out with a bang, a lot of people was confused and saying, you told us this man was dead for
That
forever.
too.
If
They
he
keep
wasn't
bringing
gonna be
Heihachi
dead,
back, and
you
this
should have
is
just
this
put
is
him
definitely
back in
supposed to
the
be like
base
a Rangers
game.
game.
And Clive
Yeah,
has
that's
come
true, I
out,
guess.
which a lot of people
I
are
don't know. I
super,
mean,
super excited about.
I still don't
But
know
at
a
the
lot,
same
but like
time, a
fighting
lot of
game
people
lore in
felt like
general
it
is
fell
always dumb and
flat
whack.
because one, not only did we not get the character that a lot of
When I have
people
to sell my
wanted,
game
which
and
was
decide to bring
Tifa,
back
but
a
at the
character
same time,
who's
you took a
died
character
14
from the
times because the
same
old heads remember
universe
this
of the
guy.
character that
is
we
wrong
wanted.
with
So it's
you,
like it's a
Vision?
double whammy
True,
of
they
not
will be
only did we
playing
get
him.
the
They
character
will.
we want, but you went into that IP and could have got it, but you got another one. And then let's not forget with Heihachi, when he came out, they was trying to give the DLC stage separate, which a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
was
people
so
thought was
fucked.
greedy, which
Oh
more
my!
so
Oh my
speaks towards
God! Yeah.
Bandai
That
Namco
shit
side
was
of
so
things, not
fucked.
so much Tekken Project. But overall, it seems like Tekken 8 has gotten like on bad footing for a lot of people where you seeing people now basically saying that they're just tired of Tekken 8 and want to go back to Tekken 7. So we're seeing
Aspiring
this
Namco
pattern with
kiss ups.
games where people
Go
are
get
just
my
wanting to
car.
go back to the old version of games. They don't like the current state of games, which even carry on into one of the other big games that's in the FGC top 4. Some people might even say top 3 in this current state. Gear to Gear Strive. You have people out right now, including Bro Leffen.
Oh, left and
who is
tweet, left and
basically
tweet.
saying
Yes!
Love
Gear
left
to
and
Gear
tweets. Hold
Strive
on, hold on,
is
hold on, hold on.
Yes, left him.
All right,
Huge Jelte.
let's see what he has to say. I was positive when Strive said that that they would emergency patch, and I was happy that they communicated. But this patch is awful. It's the definition of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Only really nerfing Ram while keeping Gold Lewis, Sin, and Johnny broken. Then buffing Pot to old ramps. The shit they did with Pot was so fucking absurd. I don't know how they got. I don't know how they.
Yeah, I don't play this shit game. Speak your truth, girlfriend.
So here's the thing, right? So they like hella giga buffed Pot, but they made him kind of boring, right? Well, the character was always boring in my opinion because fucking Potemkin. Like, I don't know why Pot players like to act like they're fucking good when they do the same three things. Anyway, so they giga buff Pot. They gave him a shit ton of good moves. But then what they ended up doing is removing his Karas, right? Well, in the emergency patch, well, not just in the emergency patch, but all the Pot players and other like Guilty Gear heads, they were not happy that someone like Pot, whose identity has been like Karas for so long, no longer has Karas.
Yeah.
Well, instead of properly adjusting the character, because this version of Pot was redesigned without Karas in mind. So instead of toning back stuff that should have been toned back, they gave him his Karas and let him keep every other buff.
Oh, so you're saying that?
And
like,
also, I believe I think it was Potbuster, they increased the range and also gave it super armor to they also gave it armor and increased the range to compensate for the fact that he didn't have Karas now. Well, now that shit has like 3 times the range because he has Karas now.
Yeah, so
and you
you're
can't
saying
do anything. You just have to jump. And hopefully he doesn't hit you with the anti-air grab.
Just to make sure I understand, the sequence was they took out Kara cancel, gave him a bunch of shit to compensate, and then later gave him Kara back?
Yeah.
Yeah, Now I see why I saw a bunch of people on that patch like making tier lists and saying that he was actually like a meta threat now.
Yeah, he's not like healthy for the game. That's the problem.
Right,
I
because
don't think he's like the best character in the game, but I don't think
yeah.
he's healthy for the game.
I mean, that makes sense because if you've played like any amount of like fighting games enough to like actually consider yourself a player and you know anything about grapplers, you know Karas are pretty fucking busted. Because like getting to extend the range of your grab on a character that's all about grabbing really, really widens your option pool. So normally characters will have Kara as a compensation for like having kind of weaker standard tools, but then they buffed his standard tools. So, you know, he loses the Kara. And then they said, fuck it. He can have both.
What's up? Garuda Impact. So, they made Flick basically kill any projectile, right? Well, Garuda Impact is no longer a strike. It still guard crushes, to my knowledge, but it's no longer a strike, and it's a projectile. And that means you cannot FD it. So he can just loop Garuda Impact. Like he has actual just like real fucking loops in the like pop buster because there's nothing you can do. You can't FD it anymore because it's a projectile.
Did they scale back like the damage of Potbuster or anything, or is it still a fuckload?
It actually has a shit ton more damage.
Oh my god!
Well, here's the thing. So this strive patch, I'm gonna cut it after this. But this strive patch, they were supposed to be raising defense across the board in order to incentivize more interactions. Well, they just basically ended up increasing the damage. They raised like character defense, but then they like tripled the damage. So there's like no real defense raised.
And just to be sure, because I know this video is a couple months old, is this post White Wild Assault nerf?
He doesn't even have White Wild Assault anymore. He has Blue Wild Assault.
I know. I'm just asking for the greater context of the game.
Yes.
Yeah, because
White Wild Assault got nerfed a while ago.
Because at the time, everybody was like, White Wild Assault is what's killing the game. That's the problem. If they fix that, the game will be back. And then it didn't happen because they just want the game to be full of a bunch of cringe bullshit.
The producer of Guilty Gear Strive actually came out and apologized for the recent patch of the game and how it didn't meet players' expectations.
Yeah.
But then even the patch that came out to fix the patch that they didn't like came out on December 23rd, and people are still saying that it was terrible.
That's a good point too, Vision. Like Pot actually can move, which like most grapplers are meant to be sluggish by design.
People are just saying this character's too good, this character is too bad. Just a lot of chaos right now, seeming like people just don't like the current state of the game, which is typical. This is more so seeming
also
like
the fact that we're nerfing Dizzy and not giving her anything when she's the worst character in the game by far.
Right now, this is a bad patch, whatever. It's not as serious as like Street Fighter 6 attacking, but still it seems like it's at a down slump. So yet another game in the FGC that is at a down slump. Then you have Mortal Kombat.
So
can we like skip
my
this?
whole thing?
Fuck MK.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about Mortal Kombat. I'll skip this game. We'll go to
W. We don't fuck with NRS. We play real games.
And as we transition to fighters.
Oh no!
Brother, we play real games as we go to fighters.
Fuck, this game is so fake.
No, but my whole thing with Strive is just so fucking directionless right now. Like they keep changing the game every single season, and I'm like, you can't just make these changes and then start drastically overhauling the game without properly letting the changes simmer. Because they'll do like one actual patch a year, and then they completely revamp the game in the next season. And I'm like, what are we doing? We didn't even we didn't actually design anything. We're just overhauling everything. Like, stop it.
See, funny enough, to contrast that with DBFZ, as somebody who's literally been playing it since, Jesus, season 2. I've been playing it since I was in high school. Fucking, this game is actually an example of how to do that shit correctly, because the game is 100% like fundamentally different, and the devs are aware, but they did it gradually over an extended period of time, so they didn't scare anybody off in between patches.
And right now we're in like, the game's basically dead now, so the devs are just kind of just throwing out bullshit, and it's kind of funny, just keeping the game.
Yeah, this game's definitely Discord fighter, IMO. Would you consider MK as part of the big 3 FGs? Fuck no.
No. I think if you mean like mainstream audiences, people know what Mortal Kombat is. Like, they know what Mortal Kombat is. If
Yeah.
you ask anyone on the street, like, about fighting games, they're definitely gonna say Street Fighter, MK, and Tekken.
Yeah.
But within the fighting game community, Mortal Kombat's not. It hasn't been that big since I don't know. Like, no one really cares about Mortal Kombat anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of lost its spot on the stage. I would argue that the big three nowadays are Tekken, SF, and insert whatever anime game is your favorite.
I'm gonna say right now it's Guilty Gear.
Yeah,
Just
Gear is
because
definitely the
Gear
most
is,
popular
like-
anime game right now.
Yeah, like far and away. I would say Fighters, but Fighters is a 8-year-old game now.
Yeah, it had its time. It was that game for a while. Bro's not like that anymore. He's washed. But game is still fun
Everybody
in
was
its
waiting
current
for
state.
rollback. It took so long
Oh,
for
the
them to
rollback.
finally get.
Okay, I was cackling at the rollback update, dude. All the fucking shit,
God.
all the shit that was happening. Like, how did this happen? They were cooking that shit for 2 years. They burnt that shit.
Yeah, I just can't believe it, bro.
Excuse me.
And on top of it, dropping it, like, removed tons of actually fun side content from the console versions. And that
Really?
made me pissed off.
That
Yeah,
rollback
do
update.
you remember
And then
that
when it
that
finally
3v3
came out-
multiplayer mode they used to have where you could literally get 6 people all with their individual characters in
Yeah.
a match? That's gone now.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah, because they didn't explain why in detail to my recollection, but supposedly because of rollback, it is no longer functional.
He's fucking broke the game. Okay.
Yeah, right?
Remember?
Right?
Do you remember a time we're playing
Oh.
on? I don't know if this is still true now, but there's a time where playing on delay was way better than playing on rollback in this game.
Yeah, it was like at the beginning of the rollback drop. I think it was when it was in beta. It was really bad.
Oh.
Um,
The game was broken.
oh yeah, and
The game
raids
was,
are gone
like,
too
just
because of
messed
rollback.
up, glitches everywhere. I mean, it was to a point to where it was just almost like cartoony, the stuff that was going on.
Jesus.
And so much so to a point now that everybody basically was just saying the game was basically dead.
I
Like,
think
that
this
was
what happened
it.
with Smash
It was
Ultimate. I got
over.
rollback right
You
now.
might as well either be looking
much,
for
yeah.
another Dragon Ball Fighters or everybody just go to
I'm just
Dragon
glad
Ball
it came
Spark.
back. One of
But
the few
scene has
cases of
come
a
out
dead
now
game
and
actually
basically
being
dropped a
revived to some
mod
degree.
that basically takes
It's
you
like
back
Still a
to
deal. Mario
the
Party. I'm like,
3.5
alright, go for it.
update to where you could play an older version of Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh
Everybody's
yeah,
excited
Champion
about that.
Edition.
So even with Dragon Ball Fighters, everybody is excited to go back to an older version or a modded version of the game where they're not happy with the current state of the game right
Now,
now.
I
So
will
as you
say,
see with all these different games that we've
if
gone
you want to
through,
play
all of
fighters
them are kind of
competitively, current fighters is not the way to go. Now, if you just
You
want to
think
play, no, not at all. I don't think like the current version of fighters is fun competitively. I think it's a fun game to play, but if you're playing that game for money, fuck no.
That's fair. I describe the current version of the game as Marvel for babies,
No, that's fair.
which is really fun to play, but I think I'm willing to agree with you. I wouldn't go to a tournament.
All right, let's see. He talks about Fatal Fury, the City of Wolves. I haven't really heard much about it. I think people liked the beta they played.
A lot of hype
but-
behind this. It's
Yeah, I want to get it, but I'm poor. I
we're in
can't
the
be a fake
holiday
Mexican
season,
any
people
longer.
take
I need to pick
breaks,
up
kinda,
the
you know how
series.
social media works. Out of sight, out of mind. But it seems like everybody, from what they've seen so far from the game, is pretty excited about it now.
I will say
In
that
an
my
era where
outfit
stuff
is
seems like it's
so
like
fire.
offensive oppression.
Yeah, I also love the
Fatal
art
Fury
style.
City of the Wolves seems like it has a good balance of both.
It looks
you
like
know,
they
offensive
took
options,
the
defensive options, with things
KOF
like just defense
15
and things
style
like that.
and just kind of,
And with this
gave
new
it some-
design
more
and how
pop.
it looks, a lot of people are looking
Yeah,
at
I really
this
like
game,
the
one,
line
saying
work.
it's
They all look like
beautiful.
action
Two,
figures.
the systems and the combats and the meta is looking pretty cool. So we're hyped to get our hands on this game. Now, we know King of Fighters 15, it held on strong for a while, but it was still like one of those games that
KOF
was
didn't
kind of
really
like
hang on that
decent in
strong.
the FGC, but more so one of the quieter
Yeah.
ones.
KOF just kind of
But
went
with
out
Fatal
with a
Fury
whimper.
City of the Wolves, it looking like it might come out with an impact.
Which
that it
sucks,
actually
'cause
might
that game
do
had so
very,
much
very
potential,
well in the
dude.
FGC.
That was like a game I was
better than
super hyped for.
KOF 15.
Yeah,
And when that
I'm a fake
comes out
Mexican for
pretty
not picking
soon,
up that
it's
game
even gonna
also.
be at next year's Evo France. Hopefully people get their hands on it and they really enjoy it, and that brings another 2D game into the scene that people will enjoy. Now going to the 3D, we know Virtual Fighter 6 has basically been been announced. And it's a
Virtua
great
Fighter
thing because we know the
6.
3D space for a long
3D
time has
fighters, I
basically
mean,
been
there's
nothing but
not a whole
dominated by
lot
Tekken.
that
Tekken has
can.
held the reins for a long time, and it basically
Yeah,
lived or
I mean,
died with
it's just hard
Tekken.
because
But
like
Tekken 8 in a
shit like
position right
Virtua Fighter
now
Soul
where
Calibur,
people
they
are
have their
just
audience, their
super
dedicated audience
polarized
that
They
will
over
come
that
do.
back.
game.
But
There's
It's
definitely
great
it's
to
just
have
hard for
Virtua
them
Fighter
to
6
outshine
come out
Tekken.
and add some variety into the scene.
Let
But the
alone like
great thing
getting people
about it
into
is
3D fighters is
Virtua
just
Fighter
hard.
6 isn't coming out
Yeah,
and
true.
basically in a state
More
to where it's
complicated.
gonna be like all the other games. They're basically coming out and just saying we're not doing no combat mechanics, no type of gauges or anything like that. We're sticking to raw, stoic, what y'all call boring combat. So they're sticking to their roots, and they're basically just saying everything
Yeah,
around it as far
I
as
mean, it's not
story
a whole lot
mode,
to say about
environments, character relation.
there's not a whole lot to say about Virtua Fighter 6 right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, if what bro is saying is true, I respect the design philosophy.
2X I think that's a more interesting conversation.
Def.
Now, since 2SKO been announced back when it was Project L and people knew that Riot was going to be behind it, basically everybody saw it as it was going to be like a savior to the FGC. Everybody was waiting for that to come out, and they thought it was going to
Vision, I
bring
hope
some
you're still
huge
willing to
money
duo
into
on
the
this game with
scene.
me.
And I even made a video basically saying,
That's
not
just so
agreeing with all
fucking
that other stuff that they're saying, but basically saying that the
do
tag
you
fighting
pronounce her name?
scene basically needs it because we're not expecting no
The
Tekken
Fox?
Tag 3.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball
Alright.
Fighters is
Alright,
basically
okay.
dead in the water. And then the long way to Marvel vs. Capcom 4 seems
Yeah.
to be hinting at, but there's no clarification or any verification that
What?
we're going to get that anytime soon. So 2SKO can basically put that on his
what did
back
Vision
to
say?
save the tag fighting scene. But at the same time, I'm going to be honest, the way I feel about it,
This dude.
when those alphas and those play tests and things were
Mhm.
out, it didn't seem like 2SKO made a big enough bang in the FGC for what people are expecting it to be. It didn't feel like it was going to be a savior. It didn't feel like people talked about it so much. Like,
Okay, I don't know why people talked about this game like it was going to be some kind of like savior. I don't know why people talked about that like it would be.
Probably because League is a huge IP, I
League
guess.
is a huge IP, but League players could not give a flying fuck about fighting games.
Yeah, right? Like the people who are interested in this are fighting game players, not League players. Like those communities do not have like a strong Venn diagram to
Right.
work with.
It's basically a league for people who don't want to play League. Now I will say the game looks super fun. I think my problem with it, from one, okay, this game is beautiful. Like it's
Yeah.
beautifully animated, but the animations make the game look so much slower than it actually is. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah, it does
animation
play pretty
doesn't-
fast.
For how fast the game actually plays, the animations just don't do the game justice. Like the animations aren't bad, but they don't match the flow of the game.
Right.
Also, I think another thing that's kind of a turnoff is the fact that there's no motion inputs and everything is a button combination. And I don't know how I feel about that in like a 2D fighter. Because in a game like Smash, it makes sense. But for a 2D fighter, with how many moves you have to consider and like actions and inputs, and you know what I mean? I can see why some people would be kind of turned off by that, by the button scheme.
Yeah, it's definitely different is the way I can put
I
it,
respect the ambition.
Yeah, I don't know. It sort of feels like they wanted to make, a game that would like get League players to try a fighting game, but also still be appealing to people who actually play, but also still be
Right.
good for like complete beginners. And I think doing all of those things at once is stretching yourself a bit thin.
Yeah, you can't do that because then you just kind of end up with a sloppy design philosophy, which that's kind of the issue I have with Guilty Gear. But anyway.
oh my goodness, this is the best thing since sliced bread. It just didn't feel like that. Honestly, it felt like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Beyond had a bigger hit in the scene and it's more talked about than 2XKO
Yeah, it's
has.
fucking
It
Marvel.
feels like, honestly, the way people hype up 2XKO as this savior and what they wanted for to be and save the scene and the
Yeah, I don't
cannons are
think
going to
anyone
come
hyped
and
that
just
up
do
like
this
that.
amazing thing.
don't-
I just don't feel like it's
saw
going to be like that. Now,
a kind of
am I
like
saying
I
like
saw a
they
lot of
just
hype
trash
for it,
bait?
but I don't
Of
think
course
I saw
not.
like
I feel like they cater too much and listen too much to
Yeah.
the scene for it to fail. But at the same time, do I think it's going to be like this big savior that's going to come in and make everything all
Yasuo Kamako
fantastic
Kudo.
in the FGC? No, I do not. So we'll
Imagine
see
having an
how
economy
it's
for
gonna
this.
go, but I'm kind of reserved with it. I'm gonna hold my chips and not push everything to the table.
$500
I'm gonna
Irish
be
gift.
kind of frugal with my opinion
Yay!
or my hopes when it comes to
She got her toes
2SKO.
out? Damn.
But I still, once again,
Yeah,
think it's
I'm
gonna be a
looking
fantastic game.
disrespectfully.
Now, with all that being said, it gets to a point. What can we overall say about what's going on in the FGC? I feel like one, all games are gonna go through times. I feel like where people don't really like the state of the game and they wish a lot of stuff would change. But the thing that is making this a lot more difficult is one, the state of the games that we have right now and what they're trying to achieve. We're basically at a point where developers are basically coming out and just being honest with you and saying, we're trying to make games that everybody and their mama want to buy.
Yeah.
We're trying to make games
is
that
true.
everybody wants to play, that anybody can get into it. You even have Virtual Fighter 6. Their producer actually came out and said, we're trying to make Virtual Fighter 6 a game to where it's not too hard for people to learn the fundamentals of fighting games. We're trying to make that not hard at all. Now, when you hear stuff like that, like you're trying to take away the difficulty of learning the fundamentals of fighting games, what does that mean? It's not like you're trying to babyfy everybody.
Right.
And it seems like that's where a lot of stuff is going, whether it's Tekken 8, whether it's Street Fighter 6. They're making these games to where it's like all your options are basically offensive, and being defensive, you're not rewarded for that. You're basically punished for it. So in this new era that we're in, that they're trying to bring
I don't
fighting
know. I
games
think
into,
I think he's
it's
kind of
gonna be
leaving out some
polarizing
games that
in the
would defeat
scene.
this
It's
argument
not
in this
surprising
video.
that
To be
people
fair,
are just like, I'm
Sure.
tired of this.
Like if-
I don't
if
want
you
Oh,
it.
you're right,
include-
you're right,
Go
you're right,
back
you're
to
right,
the
you're
old
right.
ways
like
of
if you
doing things.
include Rising
But
and
if
Uni
these
in this
games-
video,
I was
that
gonna-
statement becomes very wrong.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say Rising, Uni. You can even, honestly, you can even say Type Lumina, because Shield is still a very strong mechanic you have to play around.
Yeah, but to be fair, that game is far from relevant these days. Even though it's
Yeah.
one of my faves.
That game makes me so sad, by the way.
Dude, I
wish it
love
was
that
still
game
relevant.
so fucking much. I
Sale.
love it.
If Tekken 8 sells
Play
well,
Lumina.
if Street Fighter 6 sells well, we are going to continue
The
to
way
get more
people
of this,
treated that
because at the
game
end
makes
of
me
the day,
so
people
sad,
can say,
dude.
I don't like,
Like
I
they
don't
Right,
bought
bro.
that
What's
game
the beauty?
actually
Their
had a
business.
botched
At the end
launch
of
with
the day,
everyone
they
being like,
make
"Oh,
money.
no
They're
drip,
going to keep
haha, no
doing
drip."
what it is that they
Yeah,
want to
and
do.
then they kept
And then,
they
too,
kept making it a
I
fucking
mean, the
Fate Fighter
FGC we know
because
is
nobody
just
cares
kind of
about
a place
Tsukihime,
to
and I
where
cry every night.
people
I can't believe the
are more
last
so
couple
skewing
DLC
a lot of
characters were from
times to,
Fate. I
well,
think
let me
like
say
the
this,
last three,
voices that seem negative
Yeah,
seem to be
because
amplified more in
obviously they
scenes
started with
than
Saber in the game, and then there was
positive voices
Mash,
that
and then they
seem.
started doing
And we know
DLC. We
that
got
social
we got the
media, I
Count,
mean, they push that.
Ishi
That's what
Wakamaru.
people, seem to cater to more of the hot
But
takes, the big
yeah, I
opinions,
think
the contrary
I
opinions.
do think
It seems like the negative
Granblue
voices are
Rising and
amplified
Uni
more
deserve to be in
than
this
the
video for
positive
sure.
voices. It's
That's
just
for
Like
sure.
they're
the nature of the
definitely more
scene.
relevant than
But
like
it's
Virtual
just,
Fighter
it so
6.
happened like what
for
we
sure.
talked about with one.
I'd even
It
say
seems so
Granblue
much
is
more
more
because
relevant than
there
like
are
fighters
valid
on a
points of
in
what's
like
wrong
like
with
a
these
Oh,
third
fighting
a
party.
games
hundo P.
and what people
Granblue
are
is
upset
definitely like
about.
top 5
So
most
I
relevant
think it's
games
kind
right
of a
now,
mix
at
of
least.
like, this is just the scene, always being the scene. There's always
Obviously,
going
I'm
to be
biased because it's
people
my
with
main game,
negative
but
opinions
like
of a
still.
game, stuff they don't like, people talking about stuff that they can't stand and that they won't change. But at the same time, with fighting games going through this revolution of how they're changing, it's understandable at the same time that people are saying this stuff and why it seems so loud. So I
Yeah.
think the only remedy
Mm.
for this is just to continue forward and see where the state of fighting games actually goes.
I
Stick
think the
with
only
it.
real
Let's
people
keep
though
moving
that you
forward.
see
I
like
mean,
really, really complaining about this shit is like top players. I don't think like most majority of the player base that aren't top players actually like say a lot of this shit. Like there's
I'll
some
mostly
there's
agree with that.
no, there's definitely people who echo the sentiment of them, but I do think a lot of it is just coming from like top players who they know the ins and outs of these fucking games. They're probably burnt out.
Yeah,
They're probably tired
I,
of dealing with the same shit. So like
I'll say it's
understand
it's
the
not
sentiment.
just top players. I don't think, because I think like we're also the kind of players who like have a reason to be upset about this. Like people like us who are at like the higher level of intermediate, because that's where you start to be good, like become decent enough to like notice why these things matter.
Right.
Because I to clarify what I said earlier, I was just talking about the statement he made about making everything offensive not really being correct. The statement about like everything being babyfied, that's super true.
That part, yeah, I would heavily agree. And I don't think a majority of, how do I want to say this? I think we were in a stage where all people wanted to do was make like super easy games, try and get, you know, the most amount of people that they could playing their game.
Yeah.
But now I don't so much. I think we're at a point where that might change, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Like now
Yeah.
that we've spent the past couple of years like bringing in a new bigger audience, hopefully now we can take advantage of that fact that the scene has grown and start making some shit for the real gamers. I'm hoping.
Right. So I mean, at this point, like I'm not looking for like a super hard game, but I do want a game that has more to it than its system mechanics. You know what I mean? Like Uni, for
Yeah,
example.
right.
I think Uni is a perfect game in the sense that yes, you have to play around the system mechanics. However, you still have a lot of stuff you can do that has nothing to do with the system. Like you can just kind of play the game.
Yeah, right. Because a lot of fighting games now, they're really, really focusing on the macro interactions.
Right.
And there are some games like Lumina that do it well and still manage to have depth in that. But there are other games like, honestly, I'm willing to say Grand Blue in this instance that in some cases do it wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how to find that balance though. I'm not educated enough to know the correct way to do it, unfortunately.
I think there's merit. I think there's merit to not having like a super easy game, because you have a game like Street Fighter 6, which is like a fundamentally, like, it is fighting game fundamentals. It's not super hard, but it's not super easy. Like people who don't like really play fighting games, they'll pick up some Street Fighter, they'll play it. It has its own staying power, and I think a lot of these games just don't have their own staying power. Impartially, I mean, this has nothing to do with the games themselves, but I think marketing kind of goes a long way. Like no one
Yeah, that's true.
really markets their games anymore, unless you have like a super established IP that you know, like people are gonna buy regardless. Like people,
Yeah,
these
I agree.
companies just aren't marketing them.
Yeah, like I don't even know how you would go about like trying to get like a brand new fighting game IP in the scene, because it's basically all about the franchises now.
Right. And like we were talking about, I mean, I would not consider Mortal Kombat being like the big three. However, it makes a lot of money and has a lot of players. Now, those players aren't like the core fighting game community, but
Mhm.
you know, there are still plenty of people playing the game that, you know, aren't within that, in this bubble specifically.
Yeah,
It has a
right.
good
Like
casual audience.
there's a distinct like split between for lack of a better way to say it, people who actually play and casuals, right? Like the people who kind of, they want to hop on the game for like an hour, play a couple sets, not really worry too much about like the strict improvement process, and just like hopefully get a couple wins and then log off.
Right.
You just got to be careful with how much you cater to those people, because they probably won't be putting as many hours into
Right,
the
they're
game.
not the core audience. Like, if you can learn to keep that audience, like if you can like keep them in the bubble, like you get them into the game, they'll buy the next game or they'll continue to play the current game. That's different, but I don't think you should be catering toward the new players, because at the end of the day, fighting games are still very niche, and I think they will continue to be niche. I don't think there's anything they can really do about that.
Yeah, it's too inherently difficult of a genre.
Yeah.
Like to have like a widespread appeal entirely. That's why there's like a million little examples I could think of that bug me with that type of shit. Like, don't get me started on DP assist. I think that is an evil mechanic made only to aid bad players.
DP is so funny.
Like, I think it should just never have been created. I'm very elitist about that. If you can't do a Z motion on your fucking controller, you need to like, you got to do something, bro. You got to get help.
Goodness gracious. But no, I mean, on that note, I mean, the only closing thing I really have to say is, I think fighting games they're in a fine state right now. They're not.
Yeah, far from dead. try games. Try different games. A lot of people say that they're fighting game fans, but they only play like one or two. Try a
Right.
lot of games. You'll find one that you love, I promise.
I will always
Whether
say,
it's old or
like,
new.
I will always say, Under Night is one of those games that everyone says that they want, but they actually don't play it.
Yeah, right?
Like, Under Night has everything that you want. It has good system mechanics, it has good offense, it has good defense, it has very fun characters, it has very good music, and it's just, it has everything, but nobody wants to play the game.
Yeah, right? And even if you don't like the current games, people are still playing the old ones. You ever heard of fucking Fightcade? Those games still exist. They still have communities. Go play them. You might like them.
That is true. However, I get why people don't. Because you
I mean,
kinda
yeah,
have-
there's
you
an
have to
extra level of
really-
effort.
You have to go out of your way
Mhm.
to...
It's true. It's true.
You have to go out of your way to not only set that up, but also to find players.
Mhm.
And, you know, there's a lot of people who just want to get on the game and just play.
Yeah, well, because the dynamic of fighting games being social is a little different now also. Because, like, people don't view the social aspect as going out and finding people to play. They view the social aspect of fighting games as Twitter now.
Pretty much. Which is unfortunate, because I think the most fun part about fighting games is, you know, having a little community of people that you
Yeah,
can just kinda
right.
interact with or, like, play with in person. Or at least...
It's all
like,
about ranked now, bro. Get to masters. Get the grind on.
Yeah.
It's tough, bro. It's tough.
Well,
But yeah, fighting games are not dead.
yeah, far from it. On that note, though, I think this would be probably a good time to wrap.
Yeah, definitely.
What is that? An hour and 14? Perfect. Perfect.
I gotta say, I think the React Andy went pretty well. It'll be good to bust that out every now and then when we find something that piques our interest, I think.
Uh-huh. You see a little YouTube video, I don't mind talking about it. But no, right now, you know, I know we said that we're gonna do 5 p.m. PST / 8 p.m. EST on Wednesdays. Having a job makes schedules a little hard, so we're gonna try and stick to that. But if anything happens,
Yeah, it's my job, by the way. I am the problem because I am a slave to my boss because I work at a fucking gas station.
It's okay. We're gonna get you out of there.
But regardless, I will still be here.
Yeah, this isn't going anywhere. But no, yeah, if you want to follow Lanny, their Twitter is going to be at LannyVA. Same with their YouTube channel. As usual, you'll probably find their wife's channel first. Anyway.
It's true. She's famous. I'm not. I'm leeching.
Lanny will be the one that posts the VODs of these streams, and if you want to check out my YouTube channel for any reason, it is the exact same as my Twitch. It is just an anodyne. I don't really post there right now. Don't really know what kind of content I want to post outside of this thus far, but we'll have that conversation when we get there.
Right.
Alrighty. Well, any other closing notes?
Fighting games are dumb, and they're the best kind of dumb. And if you don't get that, then I think you need to learn to have fun in your life. Just get on and mash some buttons. It's not that serious.
True, by the way. Alrighty, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.